the age before noise, the wise said, "Where the mind does not wander, destiny cannot be stolen." Philosophers and samurai alike understood that true focus is not a gift, it is forged. Like steel in the fire, the spirit is hammered by discipline, tempered by pain, and sharpened by intention. This is Hagene no Ishi, the will of steel, where every distraction is an enemy, every excuse a crack in your blade. You, watching this now, are not here by accident. You felt the pull, the call, to sharpen your mind, to reclaim the focus that modern chaos has stolen from you. Tonight, you are not just a viewer, you are a warrior in training. If you're ready to forge your spirit, comment focus below, subscribe to join this clan of modern samurai, and share this with someone who's losing themselves in distraction. Thank you for standing in this circle of warriors, choosing discipline over comfort, fire over rust. Your presence here means you are ready to become more than you have ever been. To the ancient philosophers and samurai, the mind was not a cloud of random thoughts. It was a blade. A blade must cut one thing at a time. This is the essence of the single-pointed mind, the ability to direct all of your awareness toward one target and refuse every other invitation. The Stoics spoke of ruling the inner citadel, while Zen monks trained to bring the mind back to a single breath, a single strike, a single present moment. A scattered mind is like a sword left in the rain, rusted, dull, unreliable when it matters most. A focused mind is like a katana in the hands of a master, silent, deadly, precise. Philosophers understood that whatever you give your attention to, you feed. If you feed distractions, you become weak. If you feed focus, you become unshakable. The single-pointed mind is not just about productivity, it is about identity. It is about becoming the kind of person who can say, "This is what I am doing now," and mean it with every fiber of their being. Imagine an archer on the battlefield. Arrows fly, screams echo, chaos surrounds him, but his eyes are fixed on one target. He does not try to shoot 10 enemies at once. He breathes, narrows his vision, and releases with calm certainty. That is how you must train your mind in a world that constantly throws arrows of distraction at you. Notifications, noise, worries, memories, fantasies. The philosophers knew that attention is the gate through which your life flows. What passes through that gate becomes your reality. If your mind jumps from thought to thought like a frightened animal, your life will feel fragmented and weak. But if you learn to hold your gaze, your thoughts, and your energy on one meaningful task, even for a short time, you begin to taste a power most people will never experience. The single-pointed mind is the opposite of multitasking. It is mono-working with the intensity of a warrior charging into battle. To cultivate this, you must treat focus like a sacred ritual, not a casual mood. When you choose a task, you declare it your battlefield, and everything else becomes background noise. You tell yourself, "For the next 30 minutes, this is my entire world." You silence what you can, accept what you cannot, and return your mind to the point every time it wanders. Like a samurai returning his blade to the target after each strike. At first your mind will rebel. It has been conditioned by endless scrolling and instant gratification. It will itch, scream, and beg for escape. But with each return to the task, you are sharpening your inner sword. Slowly, distraction loses its grip, and your ability to hold a single thought, a single goal, a single action becomes your hidden weapon. This is the single-pointed mind, not perfection, but relentless return, not magic, but training, not hype, but the quiet, unshakable strength of a warrior who knows exactly where his next strike will land. To live in this age is to walk onto a battlefield the ancient philosophers never saw but deeply understood, a war against distraction. They warned that a mind conquered from within is more tragic than a kingdom lost to invaders. The samurai called it a failure of Shin, the heart-mind that must remain unshaken in storm and fire. Today, your enemies are not swords and spears, but endless notifications, shallow entertainment, and the constant pull to look away from what truly matters. Every time you reach for your phone without thinking, every time you abandon deep work for shallow pleasure, you surrender a small piece of your power. Philosophers knew that distraction is not just an inconvenience, it is a thief of life. Your time is your existence. To give it away carelessly is to die in slow, comfortable fragments, never realizing how much of your spirit was quietly taken. In this war, distraction doesn't attack loudly, it seduces. It promises relief, a small hit of pleasure, a moment of escape from effort. The samurai would have seen this as a spiritual ambush, a subtle form of defeat before the first strike. When your focus is divided, your will weakens. When your will weakens, your character erodes. You start things and never finish, dream loudly but act softly, live surrounded by almosts and maybes. Philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius spoke of guarding the mind as a fortress, refusing entry to thoughts and impulses that would break discipline. The war against distraction is fought in tiny choices. Do you stay with the difficult task for 5 more minutes, or do you let your mind run toward easy entertainment? Each decision is a vote, for mastery or for mediocrity, for sovereignty or surrender. The sovereignty. To fight this war, you must see yourself as a warrior, not a victim. A warrior anticipates the enemy and prepares the ground. You do not simply hope to stay focused, you design your environment so distraction has fewer doors to enter. You silence what you can, remove what tempts you, and set clear rules for your mind. When you work, you work. When you rest, you truly rest. No half work, half distraction life. Like a samurai polishing his armor before battle, you prepare your tools, your space, and your intention. And when distraction still slips through, and it will, you do not curse yourself or surrender. You notice it, cut it down, and return to your task with renewed resolve. Every time you pull your attention back, you are proving to yourself, I am not a slave to impulse. I am the one who decides. That is the silent victory the philosophers knew, and the spirit of the war against distraction. The philosophers and samurai both understood a simple, brutal truth. Your life does not change in the grand moments. It changes in the small, repeated acts no one sees. The discipline of daily rituals is the hidden forge where character, focus, and power are shaped. To them, a day without ritual was a day without honor. The Stoics began at dawn with reflection, the samurai with silent preparation and awareness of death, Zen monks with breath and stillness. These were not random habits. They were sacred codes that anchored the mind to purpose. In a world that worships intensity but forgets consistency, daily rituals are your rebellion. They are a quiet declaration. I do not drift. I choose how I begin, how I move, and how I end my day. Discipline is not a mood. It is a rhythm you keep, even when your feelings scream for comfort. Daily rituals are how you train your body, mind, and spirit to obey your higher will instead of your lower impulses. When you wake and immediately reach for distraction, you scatter your mind before the day has even begun. But when you start with intention, a glass of water, a stretch, a journal entry, a moment of silence, you send a clear message to your subconscious. I lead, you follow. The samurai did not draw their sword for the first time in battle. They had practiced thousands of times in disciplined repetition. Your rituals are your invisible training. Reading a few pages of a powerful book every day, focusing deeply for a set block of time, reviewing your goals, reflecting on your failures and victories. These simple acts, stacked over weeks and months, carve a new identity into your soul. Others will see the results and call it talent or luck, but you will know it was ritual. To live by the discipline of daily rituals, you must treat time as a temple, not a trash can. You choose a set of non-negotiables that you perform whether you feel like it or not. Your morning focus ritual, your work sprint, your training, your evening reflection. Some days they will feel powerful and inspiring, other days they will feel dry and mechanical. It doesn't matter. The ritual is stronger than the mood. This is where true strength lives, in the ability to act with honor even when your emotions pull you away. Like a samurai bowing before practice, you show up, again and again, to the routine that shapes you. Over time, these rituals become your armor against chaos, your compass in confusion, your steady drumbeat in a noisy world. The philosophers knew, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your ritual, and if those rituals are disciplined, your future has no choice but to follow. The philosophers and samurai both understood that not all power is loud. Some of the strongest battles are fought in complete stillness. The power of chosen silence is the art of stepping out of the storm so you can command it. In a world where everyone is shouting, posting, reacting, and constantly consuming, silence becomes a radical act of strength. The Stoics retreated into inner quiet to examine their thoughts. Zen monks sat in zazen, embracing stillness as a path to clarity. Samurai practiced mokuso, a moment of silent meditation before drawing their sword. They knew that a mind flooded with noise cannot see truth, cannot hear intuition, cannot hold focus. Silence is not emptiness, it is a sharpening stone where your thoughts are honed, your emotions are observed, and your purpose becomes clearer than ever. Chosen silence is different from loneliness or avoidance. It is not running away from the world, it is stepping back to return stronger. When you voluntarily disconnect from noise, from endless scrolling, from toxic conversations, you are reclaiming territory inside yourself. You begin to notice how much of your mental energy was being stolen by things that do not matter. In silence, you see your own thoughts rise up, fears, desires, regrets, dreams. Most people are terrified of this encounter, so they drown it in constant stimulation. But warriors of the mind walk straight into it. They ask, what am I really thinking? What do I truly want? What have I been running from? In these quiet confrontations, you begin to separate your true self from the layers of distraction, expectation, and noise that have covered it for years. Silence becomes a mirror, and in that mirror you meet the warrior you were meant to be. To embrace the power of chosen silence, you must carve out sacred spaces in your day where the world cannot reach you. No phone, no music, no chatter. Just you, your breath, and your awareness. At first it may feel uncomfortable, even unbearable. Your mind will itch for distraction, like a warrior addicted to chaos. Stay, breathe, watch your thoughts like clouds passing by, without chasing them. This is mental training as real as lifting weights or swinging a sword. Over time, silence will stop feeling empty and start feeling full of insight, creativity, and strength. In that stillness, decisions become easier, priorities sharper, focus more natural. You learn to respond instead of react, to choose instead of be dragged. This is what philosophers and samurai knew. A mind that cannot sit in silence is a mind that cannot truly command itself. But a mind that masters silence can walk into any noise, any chaos, and remain unshaken. The philosophers and samurai both knew that inner conflict is a silent poison. When your purpose says one thing and your actions do another, your spirit fractures. Alignment of purpose and action is the art of making your life walk in the same direction as your deepest why. The Stoics spoke of living according to nature, not trees and rivers, but your highest nature, your duty, your reason for being. The samurai lived by Bushido, a code where honor meant that what you believed, what you spoke, and what you did were one. No gap, no pretending. When your days are filled with actions that betray your true purpose, you feel it as anxiety, frustration, and emptiness. But when every step, every effort, every sacrifice leans toward what truly matters to you, even pain feels meaningful. You stop asking, what's the point? Because you are living the point. Alignment is not a feeling, it is a discipline. It demands that you confront the uncomfortable question, Does how I spend my time reflect what I say I value? If you claim you want mastery but spend hours numbing your mind, your actions are telling the truth, not your words. Philosophers knew that character is not built in what you intend, but in what you consistently do. The samurai would rather die than live out of alignment with their code. That is how serious they were about integrity between purpose and action. For you, it may not be life or death, but it is the difference between a life of quiet regret and a life of earned pride. Each day, your calendar becomes a mirror. Does it show devotion to your craft, your health, your mission, or does it show distraction and drift? Alignment means your schedule, your habits, and your choices all bow to your purpose. To live in alignment of purpose and action, you must turn your purpose into a compass, not a slogan. First, you define it clearly. What are you here to build, to learn, to give, to become? Then you translate that into concrete actions, daily work, study, training, contribution. You remove or reduce what pulls you away from that path, even if it is comfortable or popular. This is where the warrior spirit is required, because alignment will cost you old habits, certain friendships, easy pleasures. But in return, it gives you something rare, inner peace. You begin to trust yourself because you no longer betray your own mission. Your focus deepens because you are no longer torn between 10 directions. Each aligned action becomes a hammer strike, forging a life that reflects your deepest values. This is what philosophers and samurai understood. When purpose and action move as one, you stop living as a spectator and start living as the author of your destiny. The philosophers and samurai both understood that the quickest way to destroy a powerful life is to worship immediate pleasure. Detachment from immediate pleasure is not about hating joy. It is about refusing to be ruled by it. The Stoics warned that chasing every impulse makes you a slave to your own desires. The samurai knew that indulgence softens the spirit and dulls the blade. They lived with the awareness of mujo, the impermanence of all things, and understood that most pleasures are like sparks, bright for a moment, then gone, leaving darkness behind. When you choose the comfort of now over the strength of tomorrow, you trade your future for a feeling that barely lasts. Detachment is the art of stepping back from that trade, of seeing the trap before you walk into it, and choosing a harder path that leads to real power. This detachment is not cold or joyless, it is controlled. It is the ability to feel the pull of comfort and still say, not yet. Philosophers knew that freedom does not mean doing whatever you want, it means not being owned by what you want. When you delay gratification, when you say no to distractions, cheap entertainment, or unhealthy cravings, you are not punishing yourself. You are training yourself. You are teaching your mind that it can survive discomfort, that it can stay on the path even when every part of you screams for escape. The samurai trained in harsh conditions for exactly this reason, so that when fear, pain, or temptation appeared, they would not collapse. Every time you resist immediate pleasure in favor of deep work, meaningful practice, or disciplined action, you are forging a stronger, sharper version of yourself. To live in detachment from immediate pleasure, you must constantly remember what you are building. Pleasure asks, what feels good right now? Purpose asks, what will make me proud years from now? Detachment means you let purpose answer more often. When you feel the urge to scroll, to procrastinate, to drift, you pause and ask, does this serve the warrior I am becoming? Sometimes the answer will be yes. Rest, laughter, and simple joys are part of a balanced life. But often, you will see that the urge is just your lower self trying to escape effort. In that moment, choosing discipline over indulgence becomes a quiet victory. Over time, you begin to crave growth more than comfort, progress more than instant hits of pleasure. You don't stop enjoying life, you start enjoying a deeper life, one built on earned confidence and self-respect. This is what philosophers and samurai knew. The one who cannot resist immediate pleasure is easy to control, but the one who can walk through temptation without bowing to it is almost impossible to break. In the end, remember this: philosophers and samurai were not born with superhuman focus. They forged it, choice by choice, battle by battle, distraction by distraction. You now carry the same fire within you, the single-pointed mind, the war against distraction, the discipline of daily rituals, the power of chosen silence, the alignment of purpose and action, and detachment from immediate pleasure. These are not just ideas, they are weapons, but weapons mean nothing if they stay sheathed. Starting today, choose to live as a modern warrior of focus. Protect your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future, your potential, your destiny are all shaped by where you place your mind. If this message spoke to your spirit, comment "Warrior" below. Subscribe to stay in this circle of disciplined souls, and share this with someone who's drowning in distraction. Thank you for walking this path with me, for refusing to live half awake. Now rise, sharpen your will of steel, and step back into the world with the calm, unshakable focus of a warrior who finally remembers who they are.